So on this very day in history, the 25th of February, there were actually some pretty interesting discoveries that were made and also some significant events that took place. Thomas Edison, 1878, he created the phonograph, which was actually the first device to allow people to record and play music at the exact same time. John Holland, 1920, he invented or patented the first modern submarine. And of course, 1952, Queen Elizabeth II became Queen of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So I'm hoping that today, on the 25th of February, we can make our own discovery. Not quite on that scale, I apologize, but something that I think will be interesting for you guys nonetheless. And that is that today it's easy to have good quality data in your CRM. Today it's easy to have good quality data in your CRM. Now, during my time at Bureau van Dijk, over the last 7 years or so, I've done a lot of work with existing clients to help them get the most value from the resources that we provide. And what I've realized is that clients just want solutions that help them to have a great impact on the quality of what they do within their company. That's pretty much it. And what I've learned is that people want solutions that are easy, that are efficient, and that generate tangible results. Okay? So I've worked with a lot of very successful companies who have managed to integrate internal data via their CRM with information from an external provider to really help them to improve their marketing strategy and to generate far superior results. So today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about three things. One, how these successful companies are managing to use external data to sort out their legacy data. Two, how they're using that data to enrich the information that they have on their customers and potential prospects. And three, how they're then converting that into tangible results so they can target more effectively and so they can understand their customers in a greater detail and generate far superior leads. Okay? So let's get started. Okay, just so I've got an idea of who's in the room, can I just take a quick poll? Who here is involved in marketing professionals? Yeah, quite a lot, good. Who's involved in CRM, data, techies? Oh wow, a few people's hands went up twice, good. Who's involved in sales? Yeah, good, a few people there. Who accidentally came to the wrong talk? Oh yeah, thank you for being honest, there's always a couple. Good, okay. Well, what I'm hoping to do today is basically leave you with a couple of things, a couple of tips and ideas that will help you improve your own marketing strategy, okay? Now, I'm gonna be using some screenshots from our own products, so I apologize for that, but it's only because I'd like you to visually be able to see just how easy the process is and just how effective it can be. Okay, but there are several providers and several products that you can use that will really benefit you as well, not just ours, okay? So, let's start with a big picture. This is the big picture. In the last day, since yesterday, 1,836 companies have had a change of their company address. If you take that, and that's just a day, if you take that for a year, that's 670,140 companies that have changed their address in a year. Just to put that into perspective, if you were to stack up that many iPhones on top of each other, it'd be the height of 2 Eiffel Towers. It's a lot of companies. Let's look at another one. How many companies have gone into receivership or been dissolved or liquidated in the last week? 1,386 companies. Again, over a year, that's 72,072 companies. So this is a huge problem. How do we keep up with that amount of change? And that's only 2 fields. That's just 2 fields. On top of that, we've got to deal with duplicate records. You've got stale data, inaccurate data. We've all seen job titles like this. I'm sure the marketers will agree, database guys. Things like glorified consultant, move to a new part of the business. So how do we keep up with this? And that is the challenge. How do we keep up with all these changes? How do we make sure we have good quality data in our CRM? And this is a problem because poor data really hinders a business. In fact, there was actually a study by Gartner in 2011, I don't know if anybody read it, on the effect of poor quality data on business performance. How much does it cost a business? And they concluded 3 things. They concluded that 1, poor quality data can impact productivity, labor productivity, by as much as 20%. 2, that the primary reason that 40% of business initiatives fail to reach their potential is because of poor quality data. And 3, that as we increasingly automate a lot of our processes within companies, actually poor data is now becoming the limiting factor in productivity. So it's something that we do need to address, something that we need to change. The good news, today it's easy to have good quality data in your CRM. Okay? I had a quick chat with Tom actually from Alzheimer's Research. And I said, what brought you here? The first thing he said is, we have really bad data. Good, and I'm like, you're in the right place. So this is exactly what we want to look at today. Now, in the past, we've always considered internal data and external data as 2 separate entities. We've always said, this is our CRM, and this is a list that we buy in, right? What we actually want is a successful merger of the 2 sets of data on an ongoing basis so that we can then develop a more successful marketing campaign. Right. So I'm going to start with the point number 1. How do we improve and sort out our legacy data? So I'm using an example from one of our clients. As I mentioned, I do a lot of work with our existing clients, and the Institute of Direct and Digital Marketing actually quite kindly let us put together a case study of what they did with our information and how they were able to achieve the steps. So I'm going to use them as an example, and I'm sure we can all relate to some of these points. So we had a lot of data, 50,000 records. Yeah, I'm sure we can agree with that. Something I'm sure we have a lot in common with a lot of our members. We wanted to cleanse and remove duplicates by combining records, and we wanted to find a scalable solution that will help us to manage and segment our data. So that's what they wanted to do. And this is how we start. The first thing that we do is we make a link between your internal data and our external information, okay? That's the key process. It's a very simple process. What we do is we receive a file from the client, typically in Excel of their records, and then we connect that to our external data using a unique identifier, which in most cases is a company ID number or company reg number. The great thing is, once we've created that link, you can continually, on an ongoing basis, get information to refresh the information or the data that you have in your CRM automatically. You can also enrich your data by pulling in whatever information that the external information provider holds on those companies that you have. So what you've done is you've basically created a link between your CRM system and also a cloud-based information solution like ours, which is an external information database which is updated on a daily basis with fresh information. Which means that now the 2 systems can talk to each other. You can actually import good quality information and also have more insight into your customers. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you a few screenshots. Would anyone like to see what a product actually looks like, what something like this will look like? Yep, great. So, let's go into it. Let's show you a couple of screenshots. Once you've made that link, that's it. You can then continually update the information that you have within your system. You can do it weekly, monthly, quarterly, in a batch, or you can actually do it manually, one by one. So as an example, this is an example of our system integrated with a Salesforce platform. I'm sure people are familiar with Salesforce.com. Yep. And what the system, you'll notice, tells you is that that company is now in receivership. So you can instantly remove dead companies simply by having that integration link. In addition to that, you can actually manage the way that people input new entries. So your sales teams, when they contact businesses and they want to input a new company, the system will tell them if that company already exists within your database, which really helps you manage duplications. So in this case, on Salesforce, it uses the terminology lead because it already exists within that platform. Finally, you can also use the information from an external provider to challenge the records that you have. For instance, here we've got an additional field in the address, and you can import that information, and it's highlighted to make it very simple to see. So that's it. That was easy. Step 1 is done. We've linked your data with our data. We've helped you maintain it, keep it up to date as regularly as you want to. And let's see the result. So this is a quote from the IDM, you took a problem we've been having for a while and made it go away. The data of 50,000 records was cleansed within 3 weeks. We'd previously calculated this process could take at least 6 months to achieve manually. So that was a huge benefit. Isn't that cool? It's pretty good, huh? So that's how simple the process is. The next step, step number 2, is how do we then enrich the information that you guys have on your customers and your potential prospects? Again, I'm sure that we can probably identify with some of these quotes. We wanted to segment our data into audience types based on how they had responded in the past. We wanted to be able to run campaigns aimed at bringing back people that had previously unsubscribed. So these are some of the challenges. How did we do that? Well, the first thing is an external provider can actually give you a lot of visibility on your existing customers and clients. You can use it to segment your own information and see what your ideal customer looks like. Here, I've segmented it by industry and also by turnover. So we can see what sectors our clients are in, but also how big these companies are. So we can identify the kind of businesses that are most likely to want to buy our services. That can then help us form very effective campaigns, very targeted campaigns to identify the right kind of companies. Okay? So, moving on. Once we've initiated a campaign, your external provider can also give you information that your salespeople can use to be more strategic in their approach to companies. So for instance, through a direct link from your CRM, you can reveal things like this. This is a company overview at the top. So a salesperson might want to understand what the company does, which will save them time from searching on Google for 20, 30 minutes. They may also want a financial profile on the company. How big are they? What's the scale of this opportunity? How likely am I to sell to this company? And this is the kind of information an external provider can feed into your CRM at a click of a button. Next, well, once you've found the company and you know what they do, it makes sense to then look for the most likely contact, the best contact to speak to. And again, an external provider can help you identify key contacts within those businesses. You've got directors there, you've got purchasing managers, marketing professionals, the correct kind of contacts that you want to get in touch with. And then finally, we're seeing this increasingly, which is where our clients are using the information to be more strategic in their approach to companies. Here we've got a corporate group. We've got our company in the middle here, and then all the companies that are linked to that business within their corporate group, shareholders and subsidiaries. And our clients are using this to find additional opportunities within corporate groups of clients that they already work with or customers they already work with. It also helps you to identify who's at the top of the chain, who's the right business to be speaking to. So that's it. Step 2 is complete. We've enriched the information that we have on our existing clients and also the potential new targets. And let's see the results. So, we're creating much more concise, targeted campaigns which should deliver much better results. And that's what we want for our clients. That's exactly what we want to see. Step 3, this is the final step. How do we then generate tangible results? Again, this is the challenge. We wanted to break down campaigns to ensure that we were targeting the right people with the most relevant message. So once you've completed step 1 and step 2, you can now create more targeted campaigns, which means that leads are far more appropriate. We can use information from the external provider so we can time our activity. And this makes marketing professionals hugely popular with sales teams because the leads are just so far better in quality. There's also some added benefits. The finance team, for instance, can get a lot of benefit from this because we can provide you with information on credit scores and financial strength of those companies. So you can prioritize businesses that are more likely to be able to pay their bill, which is important. And then finally, what a lot of external providers will allow you to do is to be able to monitor key triggers within your customers or within your potential targets. So here, our system lets you set up alerts on companies for triggers that might present an opportunity. What we find commonly is that people are interested in companies moving into their area, companies that have a new director or any new personnel, or even companies that are involved in mergers and acquisitions. So companies that are merging or being acquired, because typically they require a lot of services. There's often a lot of activity around companies that have just merged. And the system will send you an email. It will trigger that, send you an email to say, Joe Bloggs Limited is now appointed a new sales director or is now in a merger with another company. And that's how easy it is to get intelligence on these prospects. And just finally, I just wanted to make a point about lead management, because obviously there's a lot of marketing professionals here, and we have a great marketing team, but they prioritize our leads very, very efficiently, and they also allocate them very, very well. And the reason they can do that is the system will allow you to view and analyze your incoming leads. You can then see if those leads match up with your ideal customers, so you can prioritize which ones to contact first, but also you can allocate efficiently. Now, our sales territory in our company is split up by geography, by revenue, and also by vertical market. So it's really important for us to be able to allocate those very efficiently by using the data that we have on sectors, etc. Good. So just to recap for you, step number one, using external data, combining it with your CRM or internal data to sort out your legacy, to dedupe and to cleanse your records. Second, then using that information to enrich what you have on your customers, understanding customer traits, understanding more about businesses that you want to approach. And thirdly, turning that into tangible results, more targeted campaigns, superior leads, and a greater insight into your customers. Okay? So that's what I want for you to take today. And just to show you the results, this is from the IDM again. We can't believe it was so easy to get where we needed to be. Campaigns are smaller and therefore cost less, which in turn means that we can do more with the same budget. So that's what I want to leave you with today. We're on stand C28. Feel free to come and talk to us. I've got some time for questions if you want to ask some questions. And hopefully you learned something from this presentation. Thank you very much. Excellent. I think there's a roaming mic if anyone has any questions at all. Yep, we've got a question here.
I just wonder if you could tell us a bit about how you actually keep your data up to date, or not you personally, but all the different things you do to make sure your data is good quality.
Great. So the question was, how do we keep our data up to date? So the data that we provide for our clients. Well, we've got a solution that has information on every registered business in the UK, including sole traders and partnerships. We get a daily feed from Companies House, which provides us with all the financial data, all the address information, etc. And then we keep that system updated on a daily basis with information from a number of providers to make sure that it's fresh and it's updated. Okay, are there any more questions? Yep.
I can see how this would work for UK, but do you do it internationally as well? And in particular, how do you get the unique ID, the company number, for international data when it can be in quite a varied sort of format?
Great, that's a very good question. So the question was, we can see how it works for the UK, but how do we then translate this internationally? How do we look at companies around the globe and also get a unique ID? Well, the good news is we actually source information in many of the major economies all around the world. So we've got a database not just for the UK, but for Germany, for France, for Italy, Spain, China, US, etc. And that all feeds into one global platform that has the widest coverage, okay? What we do is we typically source information from the local registry. So for instance, in the UK it's Companies House. It will be the equivalent in many overseas jurisdictions, and they typically will have a company ID number, a registration number, and that's what we use for the unique link. We also provide an ID number as well. Okay? Good. Are there any other questions, or is that? Excellent. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, guys.